Welcome back to another quick tutorial. Last time we were looking into how to move the sprite with the D-pad on the Steam Deck. This time we will try to make a collision detection. Before we start, we need to change our player class, what we used to program the last time, and ensure that we this time inherited it from a different type, in particular the Area2D. So we're gonna do a standard implementation for a 2D collision detection, which is just a kind of a box testing. And the Area2D is one of one of 4 different kinds how to do it on the Godot engine. First, we will just change now our base configuration and our base property and of course the derived class. And then once we are done and changed it to the Area2D and to the Area2D, we will start the implementation on the player for the 2 different methods. So once we are done, we can finally continue with the player implementation. This time we use another macro, the func macro. So this one is exporting actually our new implemented method to the Godot editor. And then we just create 2 new kind of methods for the on collision started and one for the on collision ended. And the expected type is actually a Area2D item, which is actually interacting with our object at the time. And in order to do that, we need to put it again in this kind of Godot struct. And of course, we want to print out our collision so that we can find it in the debugger on the Godot editor. Again, just as a quick reminder, as mentioned before, the func macro above the method is a strict requirement, otherwise this kind of method will be not shown in the Godot editor. And that one will be required later, as we need to do linking to these specific methods. But we will see the details very shortly. And of course, in order to use the macro, we need to declare our implementation on the player also as a Godot API. Then let's also quickly get rid of the unused variable, otherwise we get compile errors or warnings. Cargo build, so that we build our library. And when this one is completed, we can heading back to the editor in Godot. And as you can see, the player still is a sprite 2D. So that means we need to reload our project so that the changes of the compiled library get also started to work. So now we can see that the player is the base type of an Area2D, as you can see here on the right area. And we also notice there is a small warning sign, so we need to add a collision shape. And you also notice that the sprite is no longer, so the image is no longer also visible. So let's first add our collision shape. And on top of that, we need to ensure that the collision shape is kind of a rectangle. And we also want to add in addition our sprite so that we have at least the image as a representation of the player. Let's move the sprite a bit up so that the collision shape is on top of the sprite, so that we see exactly this kind of color tone, that we know where the collision area is actually affecting our player. We can then save it, of course, change to that we can drag around the image. And then we add a new Area2D type, which is now acting as our enemy or collision object. We add, of course, again, another collision shape, and we also will use another image so that we know where it is actually located. Of course, we need again to define the collision shape. So we press on the right side here to add the shape, and then just drag and drop it in the size as required of the image, for example. So that means these kind of collision shapes are actually indicating until or when actually the interaction between our method should be called. So let's move it next to our bigger player sprite and let's try it out. So now I try to move, and as you can see, first of all, the area, the new area collision object was actually on top. So we moved it now by drag and drop it behind the scene. And when we start colliding, actually, we expect that this kind of print statements are executed on the Godot editor, but this was not the case. So in order to achieve that, we need to connect the node for the Area2D with our dedicated function. Therefore, we do a right click and then proceed by selecting the player and also this kind of methods what we have extended with our code. The on collision started, on collision end, and as you can see, you can select them there and connect them. Then proceed and repeat the step, connect another one. Don't forget to select the player from the list in this kind of overlay, because otherwise this method will not show up. Also ensure that you are not limiting yourself to the script methods only. So there is a toggle for that. And now actually after hooking it up and moving left and right, we can see the print statement in the Godot editor. I hope you enjoyed the session. Thank you for watching. See you next time.